Hello, brothers and sisters of light and dark. Welcome, welcome, welcome to your doom. In which I talk about common sense, but I try to keep it down under the nitty gritty under 10 minutes. If it goes over 10 minutes, it's something very, 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 very important. And not important to liberals, libertards, people who believe in God, people like to smoke, people like to drink, people like ayahuasca, people like DMT. Listeners' discretion is advised. Your one and only Emerald Pillar King here, Esoteric, and one of the chosen ones. I am, of course, higher than an Omega, higher than a Sigma, higher than a Gamma, and higher than an Alpha. Of course, you will only find this one and only Emerald Pillar King here. So take the Emerald Pill and toss that goddamn red pill out the window. Because you're in a channel or a page, okay, you can call it whatever you want, that actually gives you common sense. It may not seem like common sense to the general masses, but if you have any comments, questions, insults, or roast fest, you put that shit down below. You put it down below, all right? Now, many times when people want, this video is about, okay, like I said before, you can put your comments, questions, insults, or even roast fest, put that shit down there below. You see my face? If it's approved, you'll be shown. If it's not approved, and you may be blocked if you keep trying and you don't have that type of humor, make fun of me or something, anything. Anyway, you know how to contact me down below. This video is about why I agree with Jesse Peterson. Lots of times. So why do I agree with that Candy Salt Wins and stuff? You people don't understand what dark psychology is. All right. Most of the time when Jesse Peterson, he speaks about the spiritual battle, and he is absolutely correct. So, for example, when Umar Johnson tries to put him down, I think it's not articulated well because the miscommunication is strong there. Because naturally, we should all know that we all are not Africans anymore or Caucasians anymore. Genetically, we are all different species within one body. When you have a white person, they might have a little bit of African in them. Like, if you got a black person, they might have a little Caucasian in them. No one is 100% about anything. Most of you people are not esoteric. You don't think outside the box. You don't believe in reincarnation. You don't believe that you can be God. You just have a very small window, okay, right? But when he speaks, I wish the fact that he would articulate himself as well. So I'm going to speak for him, okay? He's using a form of dark psychology, by the way, just like Candace Owens. When they say that blacks shouldn't use slavery as a stepping stone, that is a form of dark psychology, which is great. I think that's excellent. Even though it did exist, racism does exist, systematically it still does exist, and you can actually prove these things. If anyone actually can prove to Jesse Peterson, the fallen state, that racism does exist, you talk to him and he will try to rebuke that because he's talking about something different. He's talking about a spiritual warfare, all right? When you are born here in this world, hypothetically speaking, through common sensely speaking, you may have come here in a past life. And you may not always be born as black or white. So I have a mysticism side when I speak 9 times out of 10. I believe that you may have been white in your past life, or you may have been black in your past life. But 9 times out of 10, you may not have gotten your DNA checkup or your genetic makeup at all. But the spiritual battle is this. You know that you are all gods. You should all know this, statistically speaking, that even the Bible was created by many gods. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, which is man. Let us create man in our image. R. It said R. It did not say me, I. Okay. All right. You want to go in the Bible and check that yourself? It says in the very beginning. And we should also know that there is more than 2 sexes now in this world. It's called intersex. There are people born with, a male genitalia and female genitalia. Some of them work, and both of them may work. And none of them may work, okay? But you got to do the research on this. We should know this, right? If you do research, right? I would consider Jesse a beta, okay? And I would consider Umar Johnson also beta males because they have to take texts. They have to read a book in order to figure things out themselves. I did not have to do this. I was self-taught when I was young. Actually, matter of fact, I hear a third voice. You know how you have your voice and your subconscious voice? There's a third voice. All right? And that third voice, most people tend not to listen to. You have to really sit in darkness and isolation to figure this out. It's Jesse Peterson. Not Jordan Peterson, okay, because I sometimes get those names mixed up because he's a Canadian psychologist, PhD individual, okay. Jesse Peterson is right. It is a spiritual war. But at the same time, Umar Johnson is also right in a way. They both are right and they got some good pointers. But understand this. Why you're here is to experience and to learn. And since Jesse Peterson talks about choosing right over evil, okay, you are going to learn why, through common sense, that you should always try to choose good at all times, okay? I even watched the video where Jesse Peterson and Charleston White was having a discussion. To me, I have less empathy for little hooligans. You know, when I was a child, I was just like them, born and raised in Brooklyn, yada, 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 making excuses. And you know, back in Jim Crow days, they had a system in place, which was far superior than any system that blacks could ever create. They already figured out the black genome. So there is no competition. So let's say you're born in this world with a disposition of being black, right? You may be endowed with these traits more than whites, right? But you should already know, if you just checked your history, Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great, okay, there's like nothing that can procrastinate on that. You already know that 70% of the world has been conquered by the imperialist party, okay? We already know that. And it ain't black folks, okay, all right? So even if you go to Africa, you can see the facts I'm talking about genetically wise, all right? We're not going to talk about who's more superior, which we obviously do know. If you got that Caucasian gene, your psychology is going to be the top of the line. You're going to be the most adaptable individual. As a matter of fact, the Native Americans said that the white man came from the planet Mars, okay? And that's a whole new shit, can of worms that y'all don't even know about. But it is a spiritual war. I digress here. It's a spiritual war, but there are some things that Jesse's not going to talk about. Okay, he says he don't believe in racism, but it does exist. But he's trying to cover it up. He's going to cover it and sugarcoat it and say it's a spiritual war. But he's correct in that as well. That aspect, yes, it is. You may have done something in your past to become black in this life. How about them apples? When I was younger, I always looked at my brethren in Brooklyn, and I always wondered, wait a minute here. It is not a racism thing. It's not. It's really not a racism thing, and Jesse Peterson is correct about that. Though racism does exist, even colorism, you have to take into account to not fit in with that criteria. It happened to me. Racism has happened to me directly, yes. And then I realized, am I in the wrong place at the wrong time? Okay. I have gotten off many times when cops pulled me over for doing something wrong, and I did not get a ticket. But then at the same time, I also got some racist remarks thrown at me because of a person who was racist. And I also took care of white people. I learned a lot from white people. And they are very, very dangerous. I'm not saying all. Okay? I'm just trying to tell you, there's some particular whites that just know how to fix some things differently than blacks. Okay? Even heterosexuals versus homosexuals. These things you guys don't know anything about, and it's sad because you don't have the experience. But anyway, I just want to make that very clear. I agree with a lot of things what Jesse Peterson says, even Umar Johnson. But some things like Pan-Africanism, no. The color thing, just remove it. It does exist, but it is a choice. But guess what? I'm going to keep this under 10 minutes because I'm not your average man. I'm not your Peter Pan. And I hope you understand that there's good on both sides what they say. But no one is completely 100% right. Right? Only me. Peace.